Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Wednesday, August the 21st. We're going to look at the 11-game night slate. There is an early slate today, but it's only 3 games, and I don't think I'm going to be playing it, so didn't want to make a video on it if I'm not going to be playing. So we're just going to look at the night slate, talk about DraftKings and Yahoo. We'll start off with pitching. I'll be sure to work my way through the pitcher-player pool and talk about all the pitchers that I like for today. Then we'll look at 3 specific hitters I really like. We'll look at some stacks that I'll be going to. And then towards the end of the video, for those of you that are interested in some BVP, I will cover that at the end of the video. Before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at the top of the pitcher-player pool, Justin Verlander, our most expensive option today on both sites. He is $12K on DraftKings, and over on Yahoo, Verlander, also the most expensive pitcher at $63. So Verlander is in a great spot here, pitching at home against the Tigers. He's already faced the Tigers team once this year and dominated against them like you would expect. Went 7 innings, only allowed 2 hits, 1 run, got 9 strikeouts, had 33 DraftKings points. If you look at the Vegas totals on this game right now, Verlander is a heavy favorite at minus 415. The Tigers have the lowest total on the slate at 2.7 runs. It is such a great spot for Verlander. The Tigers, one of the worst offenses in the league. They strike out a ton as well. Verlander is definitely my top guy. I prefer him over Walker Buehler, especially on DraftKings where there's only a $600 difference. On Yahoo, I think you can make more of a case for Walker Buehler since he's $12 less than Verlander. But I still like trying to get up to Verlander if possible on Yahoo because I think this matchup is just so good and I think he's worth the salary today. I'd be very surprised if he scores less than 30 fantasy points here. So going to be trying to pay up for Verlander as much as possible. Guys like Buehler, Corbin, Minor, Darvish really aren't going to make the cut for me today. Buehler I like a lot here against Toronto, but he's just so closely priced to Verlander to where I'm not going to be playing a ton of Buehler today. On Yahoo, like I said, that's where I would have more interest in Buehler because he's $12 cheaper, and those $12 in savings could come a long way. But just $600 difference between him and Verlander. Just give me Verlander in that scenario. And then Corbin's in a tough matchup with the Pirates, a team that really doesn't strike out much. Plus, Corbin's pretty expensive at 10-8. I'd just rather play Buehler. I'd rather play Verlander. Minor against the Angels. Don't really want to go there. Angels team that doesn't strike out much. Is going to put the ball in play. Plus, he's having to pitch in Texas, where we know how good that ballpark is with the heat, how good it plays for hitters. Also, Minor's very expensive at $10,400, so don't feel like I need to pay up for him. And then Yu Darvish at $10K. I guess you could consider pitching at home against the Giants. Pretty favorable matchup, but Darvish paying $10K for Darvish on this slate when you have Verlander and you have Buehler at the top just doesn't feel like something I'm going to do. So if I'm paying up at pitcher, I'm going to be mostly focused on Verlander and Buehler. But then trying to find the value, that's what's going to be important on this slate. So if you're looking for a cheaper SP2, like in this mid-tier, a couple guys stand out. Julio Teheran pitching at home against the Marlins does stand out as a value pitcher. He's hard to fit in on DraftKings at $8K, but on Yahoo, you can definitely pair Teheran and Verlander together. Teheran's at $37. If you play him and Verlander together, that still leaves you an average of $12 remaining per player. So Teheran's a guy that I like to go a lot on SP2 on Yahoo. He's a guy I like to go to a lot. Because I think the matchup is good, facing a Marlins team that does have a lot of righties. Teheran's always been better versus righties than lefties. He's not a great strikeout pitcher, but you can get some strikeouts from this Marlins lineup. It's just a really bad offense. Teheran's a heavy favorite at minus 190. Should be able to get a win and a pretty low implied run total for the Marlins like you would expect. Just a 3.8 implied run total. So I do like going to Teheran on Yahoo at just $37 as an SP2. On DraftKings, it's pretty hard to play him and Verlander together. You're paying $20K for your 2 pitcher spots, which I don't think is something I'm going to be trying to do. So I do want to try and find a cheaper pitcher that we can pair with Verlander. And the guy that I do like is Adrian Hauser. He's $5,200. He's dirt cheap on DraftKings. It was either between him or Mike Montgomery as who would be the cheap pitcher that I would go to. Hauser's getting to face the Cardinals. Not the best matchup. This Cardinals team is healthy right now. They have Ozuna back. They have Matt Carpenter back. They have Molina back. But it's still not the greatest lineup. You can definitely get some Ks from this lineup towards the bottom. And a low total for the Cardinals, 4.3 implied run total. Looks like the weather's not going to be that good for hitting. It's going to be more towards the pitching side. Just 78 degrees, which is kind of cool. Usually it's around mid-90s around this time in St. Louis. We're seeing low run totals on both sides of this game. Wainwright and Hauser going up against each other. Hauser, though, at 5,200, I do like here against the Cardinals. He's been pretty good lately his last two starts against Texas and against Washington. He's gone 6 and 7 innings in those starts, gotten 10 and 4 strikeouts, 33, 18 DraftKings points. If he even gives me 15 DK points today at 5,200, I feel like that's going to be good enough at SP2. So I like Hauser a lot as a cheap SP2. But like I mentioned, if you want to go to Mike Montgomery, I think he makes some sense as well. I did play a little bit of him on the last slate against the Mets because he was so cheap, and he was pretty good. He got the job done. 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, got 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. That's kind of the game you would expect from Montgomery. He's not going to go too deep into games. He usually pitches about 80 to 90 pitches. He's not going to get a ton of strikeouts. But when you're facing the Orioles, with how bad that lineup is, you could definitely see Montgomery pick up a couple Ks and get 15, 20 DK points. So Montgomery is someone I'm going to have some exposure to on Wednesday, along with Hauser. Those are going to be the two guys I look to the most for cheap pitching. But I think that's it for pitching. Let's go ahead and talk about some bats now. So there's one team I really like today. Don't think a lot of people are going to look there because they're just not the best offense, but I think the Royals are in a great spot here against Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks is just a terrible pitcher. He gives up a ton of home runs. This game's being played in pretty good hitting weather, a great hitter's park in Camden Yards, winds blowing out to center. We see it in the run total, 5.5 implied run total for the Royals. They do have a lot of value in their lineup, although they don't have a ton of great hitters, 5 through 9. A lot of these guys are dirt cheap on DraftKings, on Yahoo as well. Ryan O'Hearn is someone I like a lot as a value play. He's 3K on DK, and on Yahoo he's at minimum salary. This is a guy that I'm definitely going to be targeting today, especially if I'm looking to stack the Royals. O'Hearn's not having the best year in terms of just average and power. Just 7 home runs on the year, batting 174. Not usually a guy I target, but this is definitely a matchup where I will target him. Facing a pitcher in Aaron Brooks who will give up a ton of home runs to both sides of the plate, doesn't get strikeouts at all. It's a great hitter's park. I think O'Hearn makes some sense here. If he can just put the bat on the ball, we could see him get a home run here versus a pitcher like Aaron Brooks. We know how bad that Baltimore bullpen is as well, so if they get to Brooks early and then you get to face the bullpen, that just is even better for your KC stacks. So O'Hearn's a guy I'm going to be looking to a lot on both sides. On DraftKings, I like Whit Merrifield a ton. 4,900, pretty expensive, but worth the price tag in this matchup. Whit Merrifield, by far one of the better hitters in this Royals lineup. Has a lot of power, has speed as well. Aaron Brooks is just a terrible pitcher, so I'm going to be looking to target him as much as possible today. I like Merrifield a lot on DK on Yahoo. We kind of need the savings, so that's why I'm going to look to a guy like Alex Gordon, who's only $10. Alex Gordon feels really, really cheap here. He's pretty cheap on DraftKings as well at 4K. But at Yahoo, where he's only $10, that's where I like him a lot. This is also a guy that has a little bit of power and has some speed. 12 home runs, 5 stolen bases on the year. Brooks gives up home runs to lefties and righties. So definitely going to be looking to Gordon in my KC stacks. So love KC. They're going to be a team I'm looking to target a lot today. Then there's a couple teams you could definitely look to. The Red Sox are in a really good spot here against Drew Smyly. It's going to be hard to stack the Red Sox with Verlander. It's going to be pretty much impossible to do that. But I do like some mini stacks, 2-man, 3-man stacks, and one-offs. And a one-off I really like is Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts just so good versus left-handed pitching. Drew Smyly, not a good pitcher, really struggles to righties. This is just not a good spot for Drew Smyly, having to go into Fenway to face the Red Sox. We see it in the run total. I expect Smyly is really going to struggle here. Really don't see how he gets out of this one without giving up at least a couple home runs. So Mookie, Sander, JD, Sam Travis, those are the guys most likely to homer off of Drew Smyly. But Devers has been great this year, lefty. It really doesn't matter. You could definitely look to him. Chris Owings is not a good hitter, but he's also 2,200 on DraftKings. So if you need a value play in your stack, you could definitely look to Chris Owings. You can play him at second base and the outfield. You got a cheap catcher in Sandy Leon. You got a cheap guy batting ninth at 3,900 with Jackie Bradley. So it's going to be hard to full stack the Red Sox with Verlander, but if you want to pay down at pitching, if you want to play like 2 cheap pitchers and go for a Red Sox stack, I don't mind it at all today because I think they do have a ton of upside here against Drew Smyly. But then looking over to Yahoo to fill out my 5 plays, I do like some Rangers bats here. This Rangers game is a game I'm going to be targeting for hitters. Right now we have a 5.2 implied run total for the Angels and a 5.9 for the Rangers. We got two lefties on the mound, Mike Minor and Patrick Sandoval. Minor, not really a guy I want to target, because I think he is a pretty good pitcher. But on the other side, I do like some of these righties versus Patrick Sandoval. And over on Yahoo, Elvis Andrus is still dirt cheap. He's only $10 today on Yahoo. He was minimum salary on Tuesday. Andrus is a guy that I like a lot, again, over on Yahoo. Whether you're stacking the Rangers or if you just want to play him as a one-off, I feel like he's a really good play here. He's stealing a ton of bases this year. We didn't see that much last year, but this year, 25 stolen bases for Elvis Andrus. So if he gets on base, he will run. He still does have a little bit of power with 9 home runs. We know how good the hitting weather and the hitting conditions are going to be in Texas today. Right now, it's expected to be 98 degrees, so it's going to be great hitting weather. And I do like some Rangers bats. I prefer them over the Angels. You could look to guys like Fletcher, Trout, Upton, Pujols, but on the Rangers side, that's where I have a lot of interest. Santana, Andrus, Pence, even Forsythe for cheap make a lot of sense. So these are my 5 plays today for Yahoo and for DraftKings, guys. Now we'll look at some stacks real quick, then we'll talk about some BVP before we end the video. So my favorite stack today is going to be the Royals. The Royals are going to be a team I'm going to be very heavy on Wednesday. If they do well, then I'll probably have a good night. If they suck, then I'll probably have a bad night. That's just kind of how it goes. I feel like the Royals are in a great spot. With how bad their lineup is, I don't think many people are going to look to them. But I do like the Royals. They give you a ton of value. They give you upside at the top of the lineup. Even though guys like Dozier, Soler, Merrifield are expensive, I think given the matchup with Brooks, they're worth the price tag today. And then this Angels-Rangers game you could look to for some batters. Prefer the Rangers side given their matchup with Patrick Sandoval. Obviously, Red Sox against Drew Smyly make a ton of sense, specifically the righties. But if you want to target Devers, Benintendi, you can look to them as part of your stacks because you know they're going to come in low-owned since it's a lefty-lefty matchup. But then some other stacks we can maybe look to. There's not much that I like. Obviously, the Astros, if you can get there, but the Astros are still very expensive. Pretty good matchup with Daniel Norris. We know how good this Astros team is versus lefties. Springer, Altuve, Bregman. Looks like Correa is going to be out for a while. It looks like he's going back to the IL, so he won't be in the lineup. But since he's probably out of the lineup, that will bring in like either Marisnick or like Jack Mayfield. That'll bring in a value play you could target. If you can get to the Astros, I do like them, but I don't think they're going to be a top priority for me because I do want to try and pay up for Verlander, and it's going to be pretty hard to do that with an Astro stack. So I think that's it for stacks today, guys. Let's go ahead and look at some BVP real quick before we end the video. So just a couple of BVP plays that stand out. Mookie Betts, he's got some BVP off Drew Smyly, 6 for 17 with the home run. Brad Miller, 11 for 45 with 3 home runs off Rick Porcello. Freddie Freeman, 5 for 12 with the home run off Caleb Smith. Ozzie Albies, 6 for 12 with the home run. Curtis Granderson, the batting average isn't good versus Tehran, just 9 for 49, 184 batting average, but does have 3 home runs versus Tehran. Eric Thames, 4 for 12, 2 home runs off Adam Wainwright. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, Marcus Semien gone 8 for 19 with 2 home runs off J. Happ. So that's it for BVP, guys, and I think that is it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like down below. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.